Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to completely dismantle what you think you know about the Roman arena. Seriously, when you close your eyes and picture a gladiator fight, you're probably imagining this chaotic, blood-soaked free-for-all, right? Like a giant sandbox where anyone just fights anyone with whatever weapons they happen to pick up. But the actual historical evidence, it tells a completely different and frankly, a much more fascinating story.
Look, the Hollywood myth gives us this ridiculous video game-style battle royale. But the historical reality? It was a highly regulated, deeply mathematical pairing system that continually evolved over 400 years. The Roman arena wasn't about chaos at all. It was all about precision. It was about matching very specific weights, reaches, and fighting styles to create the absolute perfect theatrical duel.
Section 1. The Gladiator Menu Myth. To really get how this system worked, we've got to clear up a massive misconception right off the bat. Modern lists tend to, well, flatten 3 or 4 centuries of arena evolution into one giant menu card. It is a huge mistake to assume all these gladiator types existed at the exact same time. The earliest bouts featured archaic, ethnic impersonations, like literally dressing up as defeated enemies, like the Samnites or the Gauls. But over centuries, as those specific peoples were fully absorbed into the empire, the whole system evolved. It moved away from literal ethnic mockery and transformed into this highly abstracted science of technical contrast.
Section 2, the logic of legible asymmetry. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is
the core philosophy that completely replaced those early ethnic matchups. It was all about strict categorization. The Romans didn't just toss guys onto the sand with random swords. They fought in very strict classes called armaturae. Now, an armature wasn't just a set of armor. It was a formal combat identity. It dictated exactly what weapons you used, what armor you wore, your tactical role, and, most importantly, exactly who you were allowed to fight.
You see, matchmakers weren't simulating real battlefield conditions at all. They were actually designing what historians call legible asymmetry. Think about it. Heavy coverage matched against high mobility, a massive rectangular shield facing off against a tiny, round parma, a square, crouching defense just trying to survive a blistering fast, curved attack. The matchmakers wanted incredibly clear, contrasting styles so that the crowd, even the folks way up in the cheap seats, could instantly read and understand exactly what was happening down in the sand.
Section 3, the Imperial Corps Fighters.
All right, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's run through this core roster as fast as we can. Ready? First up, the absolute classic, murmillo versus thraex. The murmillo is a heavy defensive tank hiding behind a massive rectangular shield. His opponent, the thraex. Super light, incredibly agile, armed with a tiny shield and this wicked curved Sicca blade designed specifically to hook right over that shield wall. Its heavy defense perfectly matched against high mobility angle attacks. Next up, the crowd favorites. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate legible asymmetry. The retiarius, bareheaded, highly evasive, armed with literally nothing but a net and a trident. He fights the secutor, or pursuer, who is encased in armor with this smooth, egg-shaped helmet designed to let nets just slide right off. It is pure space and distance versus relentless armored pressure. Rounding out the core, we've got the hoplomachus, which is this really cool spear-wielding hybrid. The provocator, a heavily plated close-quarters fencer, and the eques, the horseman. They were usually a ceremonial opening act, and actually a really rare example of a symmetrical, like versus like fight in the arena. Section 4, peripheral, weird, and obscure.
Okay, step outside that core roster and things get, well, bizarre. Like, did blindfolded gladiators really exist? Cicero actually joked about the andabata, a fighter who supposedly fought totally blind. But historians are pretty divided on this one. Was this an actual lethal class, or just some cruel slapstick novelty act? The hard evidence we have is just frustratingly thin.
Keeping the rapid fire going, the weirdness absolutely doesn't stop there. You've got the Lacarius fighting with a literal lasso, the Democharis wielding twin blades with zero shield, the Isidorius rolling in on a Celtic war chariot, and my absolute personal favorite, the Scissor, armed with a brutal, crescent-shaped blade attached to a metal arm tube, designed specifically to slice right through a retiarius's net. Just incredible stuff.
Now hold on, a massive modern misconception needs correcting here. If you fought animals, you were not a gladiator, period. The Venator and the Bestiarius absolutely belonged in the arena spectacle, but they were specifically the morning show beast hunters. Those mathematical, human-on-human duels we just blitzed through, those were the main events, strictly reserved for the afternoon.
Section 5, a mirror of Roman order. Let's move to Commodore and see how this builds.
Into the grand purpose of all this. Because the evolution of the arena, it perfectly mirrors the entire Roman worldview. Think about it. In the Republic, they staged literal violence against ethnic neighbors just to prove their dominance. But by the early empire, Rome basically ruled the known world, so the games abstracted into a literal science of technical pairings, finally reaching peak standardization in late antiquity.
So the crucial point is, the arena was absolutely foundational to Roman political logic. It wasn't about chaos, it was a highly controlled, heavily regulated display of Roman order conquering the chaotic unknown. From those morning hunts dominating wild nature to the afternoon duels mastering human violence, every single fight was a mirror reflecting Roman discipline.
Which leaves us with this final question to consider. When we sit on our couches watching a movie and obsessing over the chaotic, mindless bloodshed of the arena, what are we missing about the profound Roman desire for legible, ordered mastery over their world? The next time you picture a gladiator, don't picture a brawler in a sandbox. Picture a highly trained technician stepping into a mathematical equation of life and death. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning what you think you know, and I'll see you next time.